Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something powerful. You were not born to be defined by what happened to you. You were born to rise because of what you choose to become. Circumstances are loud, but your growth is thunder. And when you choose growth, the world has no choice but to move out of your way. So today, I want you to stop staring at the storm and start building the wings that help you fly above it. There comes a moment in everyone's life when you must decide, are you going to let your situation shrink you? Or are you going to let your vision stretch you? Your circumstances are temporary, but your evolution, that is permanent. Every champion you admire was once stuck, confused, broke, alone, doubted, and underestimated. But they chose one thing: growth over excuses. They worked when nothing made sense. They believed when no one applauded. They kept going when everything felt unfair. Because they understood a secret: circumstances don't predict your future, your decisions do. You think the universe rewards comfort? No. The universe rewards courage. It rewards risk. It rewards the bold who refuse to settle for what life handed them. So if life is testing you right now, good. It means your next chapter requires a stronger, wiser, more unshakable version of you. And pressure doesn't break diamonds. Pressure creates them. Stop saying this is too hard. Start saying this is shaping me. Stop saying why is this happening. Start saying what is this teaching me? Because the truth is, your growth is your power, your weapon, your freedom. Your circumstances are just the training ground where greatness is sculpted. You are not stuck. You're being prepared. Prepared for influence. Prepared for opportunities, prepared for rooms you haven't entered yet. But before life takes you there, it must grow you into someone who can handle it. And growth only happens when circumstances push you beyond who you used to be. So today, choose to rise, choose to evolve, choose to rewrite everything that tried to limit you. And remember this forever: you are not the victim of your circumstances, you are the author of your growth. Your circumstances are temporary. They may feel heavy, they may feel permanent, they may feel like they have wrapped their fingers around your life and refuse to let go, but they are not the final chapter of your story. Life has a way of making the present moment look like forever, especially when you are struggling, especially when you are tired, especially when every direction feels blocked. But listen carefully. Nothing you are facing today is permanent. Not the job you hate, not the heartbreak that shattered you, not the loneliness that keeps you awake at night, not the financial stress that makes you question your worth, not the people who walked away, not the mistakes you made, not the place you are stuck in. These things do not define your destiny. They are just the temporary storms that shake you before the sunrise arrives. Think about when you're stuck in traffic for hours. When you're in the middle of it, it feels endless. You look left, cars, right, cars, ahead, cars. You sit there frustrated, angry, convinced you'll never reach your destination. But eventually traffic moves, not because you forced it, but because nothing remains stuck forever. Life is exactly like that. The traffic jam you're sitting in emotionally or mentally today is not your final position. It's just a temporary halt before your path opens again. And when it does, you move forward with more patience, more strength, more awareness. Or think about a rainy day that ruins all your plans. The sky goes dark, the streets flood, and everything seems gloomy. But no matter how heavy the rain gets, it has never lasted forever. The sun always returns. Always. And when it returns after a storm, it feels warmer, brighter, more beautiful. That's how blessings show up too. Sometimes they delay, sometimes they hide behind clouds, but they always come when the time is right. Your circumstances right now might be nothing more than the rain before your brightest season. There are people who are stuck in jobs they don't love, waking up every morning, dragging themselves out of bed, wondering, is this my entire life? No. This is not your life. This is a chapter, a season, a training ground. Many people forget that careers evolve, passions emerge, opportunities appear in places you never looked before. You might be earning less today, struggling today, doubting today, but your capacity, your talent, your potential, none of those things are temporary. They are permanent. What you're facing right now is not a judgment of your worth. It's the shaping of your journey. Maybe you've been heartbroken. The kind of heartbreak that makes your chest hurt when you breathe. The kind that makes you question your value. But even that pain is temporary. Think about the time you scraped your knee as a child. It hurt, it bled, it burned, but it healed. Every wound does, and your emotional wounds are no different. One day you will look back and realize that what felt like destruction was actually direction. Life was removing someone who was not aligned with your future. It was clearing space for someone who will choose you, respect you, understand you. The heartbreak that feels like the end is just the beginning of something wiser, deeper, and more meaningful. You might be struggling financially and it feels suffocating. You may see others buying homes, traveling, building businesses while you're trying to keep your head above water. But money problems are temporary too. Richness begins in the mind long before it appears in the bank. Every empire began with someone who had nothing but courage. Every millionaire once stood exactly where you stand, uncertain, scared, hoping tomorrow would look different. And tomorrow did become different because they dared to believe that their present condition was not their permanent conclusion. Your financial struggle today is the seed of your financial strength tomorrow. Take a moment and remember the last time you thought you wouldn't survive something, an exam, a breakup, a job loss, a betrayal. At that moment, it felt like the world was shutting down on you. But look at you now. You survived. You're still here. You grew through it. You came out with scars, yes, but also with wisdom. Scars don't prove that you suffered. They prove that you healed. They prove that nothing defeated you. If your past pain was temporary, why would your current circumstances be any different? Even loneliness is temporary. You may feel like no one understands you, no one sees you, no one checks on you. But solitude is often the season before elevation. When life isolates you, it teaches you, it strengthens you, it prepares you. Think of a seed. It must be buried in darkness before it blooms into something beautiful. Your loneliness is not punishment, it is preparation. You will not stay unnoticed forever. There will come a time when the world will need exactly what you carry. And when you face days where you feel like you repeat the same routine over and over, wake, work, sleep, repeat, and nothing is changing, remember the gym. You lift weights repeatedly, you repeat the same movements, you sweat, you struggle, and some days you don't see any difference. But slowly, silently, your muscles grow. That's how life strengthens you too. Just because you don't see change yet doesn't mean change isn't happening. Circumstances shape seasons, not destinies. They test you, but they don't define you. They stretch you, but they don't stop you. Everything you're facing right now is just a temporary page in your story, not the whole book, not even the final chapter. And just like every storm, every winter, every dark night, this too will pass. Growth begins when excuses end. It's a truth that stings at first, but it liberates you the moment you embrace it. As long as excuses control your life, growth will always stay one step away from you. Excuses are the invisible chains that look harmless but keep you locked in the same place for years. They sound innocent. I'm tired. I'm not ready yet. I don't have enough. I'll start tomorrow. But these tiny sentences steal entire futures. The moment you stop saying them, your life takes a different shape. The moment you stop giving reasons for why you can't, you begin to discover the countless ways you can. Think of the alarm clock in the morning. How many times have you told yourself, just 5 more minutes? Not because you needed rest, but because it was easier to stay where you were than face where you needed to go. 5 minutes turns into 10, 10 turns into 30, and suddenly your entire day starts late, rushed, unfocused. That tiny excuse created a domino effect. But imagine the difference when you choose discipline over delay. Imagine waking up on time, showing up for yourself, making your bed, taking that first step with intention. Growth doesn't happen in miracles. It happens in these small, silent decisions that no one claps for except your future self. Excuses also show up when opportunities knock. You get a chance to learn a new skill, but your mind whispers, what if I fail? You want to start a business, but you say, I don't have enough money. You want to apply for a better job, but you convince yourself there are people better than me, and with every excuse, you shrink your own life. You build walls around yourself that no one else put there. Think about someone standing in front of a door that's unlocked, but never pushing it open because they assume it won't budge. That's exactly what excuses do. They make you believe you're trapped even when you're not. Take the example of going to the gym. The number one excuse is always, I don't have time. But the same person spends an hour scrolling, 2 hours overthinking, 3 hours complaining about how life is unfair. Time is never the problem. Priorities are. A person who truly wants to grow finds a way. A person who doesn't finds an excuse. And the moment you stop saying, I don't have time, and start saying, this is important to me, everything shifts. Your body changes, your confidence changes, your energy changes. Growth begins at the exact second excuses end. Or think about students who say, I can't study because I'm not smart enough. But intelligence has never belonged only to the gifted. It belongs to the consistent. The student who studies 1 chapter a day will always surpass the one who studies 1 chapter a year. The difference is not talent. The difference is excuses. Growth rewards effort, not perfection. Anyone can grow, but not everyone is willing to take responsibility for their own future. The moment a student stops saying, this is too hard, and starts saying, let me try, they step into a new version of themselves. And what about relationships? Many people stay stuck in toxic friendships or unhealthy love because of excuses like, maybe they will change, or I'm scared to be alone. These excuses trap you in cycles that drain your peace. But the moment you stop excusing someone's behavior and start valuing your worth, your growth begins. You start choosing yourself. You start healing. You start walking away from what doesn't deserve you. Excuses keep you locked in pain. Boundaries pull you toward growth. Look at people who complain about their life every day. No money, no opportunity, no support. Yet they never take a step to change anything. Complaints are just excuses that sound fancy. You cannot complain and grow at the same time. Growth requires action, even if that action is small, even if it's uncertain, even if it scares you. Every successful person you admire today once stood where you stand now. But they outgrew their circumstances when they outgrew their excuses. They didn't wait for perfect conditions, they created their own conditions. Let's talk about fear. Fear is the most decorated excuse in the world. I'm scared sounds reasonable, but fear is not a stop sign. Fear is a test. When a child learns to ride a bicycle, they are terrified at first. Their legs shake, their hands tremble, but they still try. And the moment they stop saying, I'll fall, and start saying, let me pedal, they learn balance. Growth works the same way. You learn while moving, you rise while trying, you expand while taking risks. Fear loses its power the moment excuses lose their voice. Even in careers, excuses hold people back. Someone wants a promotion but says, my boss doesn't like me. Someone wants to learn a new skill but says, I'm too old. Someone wants to switch fields but says, it's too late. But age is not a barrier, mindset is. Opportunities are not rare, courage is. The job you want is not out of reach. The version of you who can achieve it is waiting to be built. And that version appears only when excuses disappear. Excuses also hide behind comfort. Comfort says, stay where you are, it's safe here. Growth says, move. You were not meant for smallness. Think of a butterfly inside a cocoon. If it excuses its struggle by saying, it's too tight, it's too hard, it hurts, it will never break free. But by pushing, stretching, fighting, it transforms. Growth is uncomfortable. It demands effort. It demands sacrifice. It demands honesty. But it rewards you with a life you never imagined. Every day you have 2 choices. Continue with excuses or continue with growth. They cannot coexist. When excuses leave, confidence enters. When excuses leave, clarity arrives. When excuses leave, strength grows. Because the truth is simple. Your breakthrough doesn't come when life gets easier. It comes when you get stronger. And you get stronger the moment you stop explaining your limitations and start expanding your possibilities. Your vision must be bigger than your environment. If your surroundings, your current reality, or the people around you can limit your dreams, then your dreams are too small. Vision is not born from what you see. It is born from what you believe. It is the silent fire inside your chest that whispers, there is more for you than this. Your environment may tell you to stay small, stay quiet, stay where you are, but your vision, your inner compass knows. You were built for places your feet haven't touched yet. And the moment you start seeing beyond the walls around you, your life begins to expand. Think about a plant growing in a tiny pot. The pot restricts its roots, limits its space, and controls its growth. But the moment you move that plant into a bigger environment, it doesn't just grow, it flourishes. Humans are the same. Sometimes your environment is too small for your destiny. The people, the mindset, the opportunities around you may be too limited to match your potential. But your potential is not defined by the space you are in. It is defined by the space you are willing to create for yourself. Just like the plant outgrows the pot, you must outgrow the limitations of your surroundings. In daily life, you see this everywhere. Think about a child in a small town who dreams of being a world-class performer. Everyone around them says, be realistic, that's not possible, people from here don't make it big. But that child's vision is bigger than the environment that raised them. They keep practicing, keep dreaming, keep pushing, until one day their name is known beyond the borders of the place that doubted them. What changed? Not the town, not the people. The vision changed the outcome. Vision lifts you beyond locality, beyond circumstances, beyond every limitation placed around you. Your environment may tell you what is normal, but your vision tells you what is possible. If you only aim for what your environment approves of, you will never step into who you were truly meant to become. Think of someone working a 9-to-5 job who dreams of starting a business. Their environment, their co-workers, their family, their friends might say, don't risk it, stay safe, play it secure. But greatness was never born from comfort. If everyone around you thinks your dream is too big, that's your confirmation that your dream is perfectly sized. Your vision must scare the people who think small. It must stretch you into someone who doesn't simply follow the world but shapes it. Look at athletes. Many of them train in tiny rooms, broken fields, crowded neighborhoods. Their environment may not look like success, but their vision does. A boxer training in a garage hitting an old punching bag doesn't see the garage. He sees the championship belt. A runner practicing barefoot on dusty roads doesn't see the dust. She sees the stadium lights waiting for her. That is the power of vision. It turns the ordinary into extraordinary. It turns the present into a stepping stone. It turns limitations into motivation. Sometimes your environment isn't a place, it's people. People who doubt you, people who discourage you, people who don't believe in your dreams because they never believed in their own. And this is where vision becomes your savior. You cannot let small-minded people convince you that your dreams are impossible. Just because they can't see the future you're building doesn't mean you're wrong. It means your vision is beyond their eyesight. A person standing at the bottom of a mountain cannot see the view from the top, but the climber can. You are the climber, they are not. There are moments when your environment is your biggest challenge. You may be surrounded by negativity, comparison, judgment, or scarcity. You may feel like everything around you screams limitation, but this is exactly why your vision must be bigger than the world that surrounds you. If you let your environment shape your vision, you shrink. But if you let your vision shape your environment, you rise. Greatness is born when you look at your life and say, this is where I am, but this is not where I'm staying. Take the example of someone living in a crowded home where there is noise, chaos, and no privacy. They may want to study, create, or plan their future, but the environment distracts them. Yet the ones who succeed are the ones who learn to create vision, even in the chaos. They study in small corners, late at night, early in the morning. They use every moment they can find. Why? Because their vision is louder than the noise around them. Their dreams echo louder than the distractions in their environment. Or think about a caterpillar. It crawls on the ground, surrounded by dust and shadows. Nothing in its environment suggests that it will ever fly. No one tells it it's capable of transformation, but inside it carries a vision nature placed within it. And one day it becomes a butterfly. Not because the environment changed, but because transformation was already written inside it. You too carry a vision that your current life might not reflect yet. But reflection is temporary. Potential is permanent. Your environment may look small today. Your circumstances might feel impossible. Your surroundings might not match your dreams. But vision is not meant to match your environment. Vision is meant to change your environment. The life you see now is not the life you will see forever. The room you are in today is not the room you will stay in. The people around you now are not the only people you will meet. The opportunities you have today are not the only ones you will ever receive. Your environment is temporary, but your vision is eternal. Pain is the classroom of transformation. It is the place where the weak become strong, where the uncertain become confident, and where the ordinary become extraordinary. Pain is not the enemy, it is the teacher that life sends to prepare you for what is coming. The moment you stop resisting it, stop running from it, stop asking, why me, and instead ask, what is this teaching me? That's when growth begins. Pain is not punishment. It is the very fire that melts away your limitations, forges your character, and shapes your destiny. Every wound carries a lesson, every struggle carries a secret, and every heartbreak carries the blueprint for your next level. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. As a child, the first time you fell, the first time you scraped your knee, it hurt. You cried, you wanted to quit, you blamed the road, the bike, or your balance. But every fall taught you something, how to hold the handlebars better, how to keep your balance, how to pedal with more intention. The pain was temporary, but the lesson was permanent. Without those falls, you would never have learned to ride. Without pain, there is no mastery. Life works the same way. Every challenge you face is teaching you how to ride through life with more control, more skill, and more resilience. Think about someone who loses a job they loved. The initial pain can feel devastating. The disappointment, the fear, the uncertainty, it feels unbearable. But that pain often becomes the catalyst for transformation. It forces the person to reevaluate their skills, discover hidden strengths, and pursue opportunities they never would have considered otherwise. Many successful entrepreneurs and leaders have stories of losing everything before finding their true calling. Pain forces reflection. Pain forces adaptation. Pain forces the creation of something new, something better, something aligned with your higher purpose. Even heartbreak, one of the most intense pains in life, carries lessons that change the trajectory of your life. When someone you love betrays you, walks away, or fails to appreciate you, it feels like the world has collapsed. And in a way, it has. Your old world, your old understanding, your old self has collapsed. But in that collapse, a new you begins to rise. You learn boundaries, self-worth, patience, and discernment. You learn who deserves your energy and who does not. Pain teaches you the value of your heart, the depth of your love, and the strength you carry within you. Without heartbreak, many would never learn how to truly love themselves or set the standards they deserve. Physical pain, too, is a teacher. Athletes know this truth better than anyone. The soreness after a long run, the burning muscles after hours in the gym, the exhaustion after pushing limits, these are all forms of pain that transform the body and mind. The pain is the signal that growth is happening. The discomfort is the marker of change. Every athlete who stands on the podium has endured pain that nobody else saw. The lessons from that pain go beyond physical strength. They teach discipline, persistence, patience, and faith in the process. Life uses similar pain to train you for your destiny, not to punish you. Consider financial struggles. Living paycheck to paycheck, facing bills that seem impossible to pay, worrying about the future. This pain is not meant to break you. It is meant to teach you resourcefulness, creativity, and the power of delayed gratification. Those who emerge from financial hardship with a mindset of learning instead of despair often go on to build empires. Pain teaches priorities. Pain teaches humility. Pain teaches the value of every opportunity, every decision, and every hard-earned dollar. It trains you in ways comfort never could. Emotional pain from rejection, whether in friendships, careers, or social circles, is another powerful classroom. Being rejected or overlooked can make you feel invisible, unworthy, and forgotten. But in that rejection lies clarity. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you to trust your own path. It teaches you to build strength from within, rather than relying on external validation. Those who succeed in life are often those who have been rejected the most, because they learned how to convert rejection into motivation, criticism into wisdom, and disappointment into a relentless drive to rise higher. Even failures in daily life, like failing an exam, missing a deadline, or making a mistake at work, are pain disguised as lessons. The embarrassment, the frustration, the self-doubt, it stings in the moment. But that sting becomes the teacher that shows you how to improve, how to prepare, how to perform better next time. Growth is born in these small daily pains, just as character is forged in fire. Those who never face failure, never stumble, never feel the discomfort of mistakes, often never experience the depth of their own strength or the fullness of their potential. The pain of disappointment in yourself is another classroom. When you fail to meet your own expectations, when you procrastinate, when you choose comfort over courage, the inner pain that arises is a call to action. It forces self-reflection, accountability, and awareness. This internal discomfort is often the most transformative because it makes you confront the truth about who you are versus who you want to become. Every moment you face this inner pain and decide to do better, you transform a weakness into a strength, a regret into a lesson, and a limitation into a stepping stone. Even the smallest everyday pains, the traffic, the long lines, the rude encounter, the criticism, carry hidden lessons if you choose to see them. They teach patience, emotional control, empathy, and perspective. Life is constantly training you through discomfort. The question is, will you resist it and complain? Or will you sit in the classroom of pain and absorb the lessons that transform you into someone wiser, stronger, and unshakable? Pain is the fire that melts the old you. Pain is the storm that clears the path. Pain is the teacher that nobody wants, but everyone needs. And when you finally embrace it, when you finally understand that every ache, every tear, every scar, every disappointment is shaping the masterpiece of who you are becoming, transformation becomes inevitable. Every person who achieved greatness has done so through pain, not in spite of it. Every breakthrough is hidden in the struggle, every victory is polished in the trials, and every rise is sculpted by the pain you endured. Your response matters more than your reality. Life is going to throw situations at you that you cannot control. People who betray you, circumstances that disappoint you, events that seem unfair, challenges that appear impossible. Reality will not always be kind. Reality will not always bend in your favor, and reality will not always make sense. But here's the secret. The power does not lie in controlling the world. It lies in controlling yourself. Your response to what happens around you defines you far more than the events themselves. A storm does not define the sailor. It is the way the sailor navigates the waves that shows the courage, skill, and vision within. Think about a traffic jam in the morning. One person sits there frustrated, yelling, honking, and ruining their mood for hours. Another person sees the same jam, takes a deep breath, puts on music or a podcast, and uses the time to reflect or plan. The circumstances are identical. The reality is identical. But the outcomes are completely different. One person's day is ruined by the jam. The other's day begins with clarity and energy. This is the truth of life. Your response dictates your experience. Consider someone who faces criticism at work. Their boss dismisses their ideas, colleagues mock their efforts, or they fail to get the recognition they deserve. The reality is harsh, unfair, and demotivating. But one employee responds with bitterness, resentment, and excuses, while another responds with patience, learning, and renewed determination. The first remains stuck in frustration. The second grows stronger, smarter, and more prepared for the next opportunity. The event itself does not define success. The response defines progress. Even in relationships, the same rule applies. Someone may betray your trust, misunderstand you, or walk away. The pain of reality is undeniable, but your response can change your life. You can respond with anger, jealousy, and regret, allowing it to define your days, your emotions, and your choices. Or you can respond with dignity, self-respect, and wisdom, allowing the experience to teach you who you truly are, what you value, and how you will never compromise your worth again. The reality of loss is permanent, but the power of response transforms the future. Look at athletes who face injuries. The reality is brutal, pain, surgeries, recovery, months away from the sport they love. Many give up, many let reality define them. But the ones who rise to greatness respond with discipline, commitment, and patience. They listen to their doctors, they train their bodies, they strengthen their minds, and they return stronger than ever. It is not the injury itself that creates champions. It is how they respond to the injury. Their reality is harsh, but their response becomes legendary. Financial struggles illustrate this as well. Two people can start in the same difficult financial situation. One complains, blames others, and waits for life to hand them an opportunity. The other takes responsibility, creates a plan, learns new skills, and works tirelessly. Years later, their realities look different, not because the circumstances magically changed, but because their responses shaped a new reality. Your response to scarcity, limitation, or challenge determines whether your story becomes one of despair or triumph. Even emotional turmoil, the heartbreak, betrayal, and loneliness follows this principle. Reality may hand you a broken heart, but your response can define whether you spiral into bitterness or rise into wisdom. One person wallows in self-pity, never trusting again, while another allows themselves to heal, learn, and set boundaries. The heartbreak itself is fixed in history, but the life you build afterward depends entirely on how you respond to it. Your emotions, your actions, and your choices are your power. Every day, reality tests patience. A child throws a tantrum in public. A friend forgets your birthday. Traffic delays your schedule. A project fails despite all effort. The external events are neutral, but your response, anger, frustration, calm, humor, resilience, determines your peace, your relationships, and the trajectory of your day. People rarely remember the reality you faced, but they notice the grace and strength with which you respond. Even the smallest daily choices reflect this principle. When someone cuts you off in traffic, do you curse or breathe? When someone interrupts you, do you snap or smile? When the printer jams, do you panic or problem solve? When reality tests your patience, intelligence, or courage, your response decides whether you are a prisoner of circumstance or a master of your own experience. Consider leaders who inspire nations or movements. They face wars, disasters, betrayals, economic collapse, and political attacks. Their realities are brutal, sometimes unbearable, but their responses define history. Their courage, strategic thinking, empathy, and resilience transform adversity into progress. Reality may provide the stage, but response writes the script. Even in personal growth, this is evident. When someone receives failure, rejection, or criticism, they have a choice. Allow it to define them as unworthy, or allow it to refine them into stronger, wiser, and more resilient versions of themselves. The reality may be the same for everyone, but the response separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Every challenge you face, every setback, every trial, every disappointment is a moment to choose how you respond. It is in these moments that your character is forged, your strength is revealed, and your destiny is shaped. Reality will happen regardless. Life will be unfair, chaotic, and unpredictable, but your response, that is entirely in your control. Your response can build empires, heal wounds, create opportunities, and shape legacies. Every moment, every choice, every reaction is a chance to rise above your circumstances and create a life that reflects your highest potential. Consistency beats circumstance. It doesn't matter how harsh your environment is, how impossible your challenges seem, or how unfair life feels. What matters is showing up every single day with dedication, focus, and determination. Circumstances will always try to knock you down. They will whisper that your efforts are meaningless, that your hard work will never pay off, that you are too small, too weak, too late. But consistency is the quiet power that builds mountains out of pebbles, rivers out of drops of water, and destinies out of moments. It doesn't matter if you start small, if your progress seems invisible, if the world doubts you. What matters is that you keep going day after day without giving up. Think about a student learning a difficult subject. At first, the formulas, concepts, and theories feel impossible. The tests feel unfair, the assignments overwhelming. Circumstances suggest quitting. Friends may be ahead, teachers may seem impatient, and the material may feel beyond comprehension, but the student who studies a little every day, who reviews their mistakes, who refuses to let one bad grade define them, eventually masters the subject. It wasn't luck. It wasn't natural talent. It was consistency. While others waited for the perfect moment or the ideal environment, they showed up, and that showed the difference between struggle and success. Look at fitness. One day in the gym does not build a strong body. 1 week of healthy eating does not transform your life. One run, one push-up, one salad on a single day changes nothing. But doing it again tomorrow, and the day after, and the week after, creates progress that is unstoppable. Athletes, dancers, and performers achieve greatness not because they are gifted, but because they show up consistently, regardless of fatigue, pain, or circumstances. Even when life throws obstacles in the way, injuries, long work hours, distractions, the ones who rise are those who refuse to miss a day, those who refuse to surrender to circumstance, those who understand that consistency is the true multiplier of effort. Consider the writer who dreams of publishing a book. The first page is terrifying. The words may feel clumsy, and the ideas may seem incomplete. Circumstances may suggest that it's impossible. Maybe they are busy with a full-time job. Maybe family responsibilities demand attention. Maybe resources are limited. But the writer who dedicates a small amount of time every day to write, edit, and improve will eventually finish that book. The consistency in showing up matters far more than the obstacles around them. Every small effort compounds into results that no circumstance could predict. Consistency beats circumstance in relationships as well. Think about a parent, a teacher, or a mentor. Love, guidance, and influence are not built in moments of convenience. They are built through consistent presence. A kind word, a patient explanation, a supportive gesture repeated over time creates trust and shapes futures. Even when life is chaotic, when challenges threaten to pull people apart, those who consistently show up with care, attention, and commitment create bonds that endure beyond circumstance. Consider entrepreneurs who start with nothing, no capital, no connections, no market advantage. Every setback seems impossible, every competitor stronger, every resource limited. Circumstance appears to be against them. Yet those who rise do not wait for ideal conditions. They learn a little every day, make small improvements, pivot when necessary, and refuse to quit. It is not the initial environment that defines their success. It is the daily dedication, the relentless habit of showing up, the refusal to allow circumstances to dictate outcomes. Consistency beats obstacles that appear insurmountable. Even in personal growth, the same principle holds. Learning patience, emotional control, or resilience does not happen overnight. It is cultivated through small, repeated efforts. Practicing gratitude daily, reflecting on mistakes nightly, meditating every morning, responding with calm instead of anger. These small acts, repeated consistently, shape character, mindset, and life. The person who meditates once may not feel change. The person who meditates for months sees transformation that circumstance cannot undo. Think about technology, art, or science. Every breakthrough you admire came from people who refused to stop. Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb overnight. He failed thousands of times but worked consistently. Every note a musician practices, every brush stroke an artist applies, every line of code a programmer writes, these repeated actions create mastery. Circumstances like lack of resources, fatigue, or rejection do not matter. What matters is showing up consistently, pushing forward, improving bit by bit, even when the world doubts you. Even small daily habits demonstrate this truth. Drinking water consistently, walking daily, reading a little every day, writing a journal, practicing kindness, each may seem insignificant alone. But over weeks, months, years, these consistent actions compound, creating lives that are strong, healthy, and purposeful. Circumstances may make progress feel slow, but consistency is the engine that keeps moving the wheel forward, unstoppable, undeniable. Consistency beats circumstance because circumstances are fleeting, unreliable, and often beyond control, but consistent action is within your hands. It doesn't require perfect conditions, perfect timing, or perfect mood. It only requires persistence. It only requires showing up. It only requires refusing to surrender to external forces and believing that your small, repeated actions are building something far greater than what the present moment suggests. It is the secret weapon of every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary, the quiet force that turns ordinary moments into monumental success. Consistency transforms struggle into skill, repetition into mastery, and patience into power. Circumstances will always try to slow you down, but they cannot outlast your commitment to consistency. Every day you show up, every small effort you make, every bit of persistence you demonstrate builds a future that your current environment cannot limit. The work you do consistently, no matter how invisible it seems, compounds into results that shock the world and redefine what is possible. Remember this, life will always test you, challenge you, and push you to the edges of your comfort. But it is in those very moments that your true power is revealed. You are not defined by your circumstances, by the mistakes you've made, or by the people who doubted you. You are defined by your resilience, by your courage to rise each time you fall, by your relentless commitment to growth. Every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. Every setback is a setup for a greater comeback. And every pain you endure is shaping the strength, wisdom, and character that the world is waiting for. The question is not what life throws at you, but how you respond to it. Think about the legends, the visionaries, and the people whose names echo through history. They didn't achieve greatness because life was easy. They achieved greatness because they refused to settle for what was easy. They refused to allow fear, failure, or doubt to define their journey. Every setback became a stepping stone. Every failure became a lesson. Every tear became fuel for the fire that propelled them forward. As you sit here today, remember this. Your past may have shaped you, but it does not define you. Your future is not limited by yesterday. It is created by the choices you make right now. Growth is not about waiting for the perfect moment. Growth is not about waiting for circumstances to be ideal. Growth is about showing up again and again, even when it is hard, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it seems impossible. The person who achieves their dreams is the one who refuses to quit, the one who refuses to be defeated by circumstance, and the one who understands that progress is forged in patience, discipline, and relentless consistency. Every small step you take today compounds into the extraordinary life you are destined to live. Letting go is the ultimate act of courage. To release what no longer serves you, to forgive yourself and others, to surrender what holds you back, is not weakness, it is strength. As Buddha said, you only lose what you cling to. The moment you let go, you create space for miracles, for opportunities, and for transformation. Your past, your pain, your failures, your regrets, these are not chains, they are teachers. Every time you choose to release, you are choosing freedom, clarity, and alignment with your true purpose. Never forget the power of your response. Life may be unfair, unpredictable, and chaotic, but your reaction can shape everything. You can choose bitterness, resentment, and fear, or you can choose courage, faith, and perseverance. Your attitude, your decisions, your mindset, these are the true architects of your destiny. As Tony Robbins says, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You have the power to transform challenges into triumphs, obstacles into opportunities, and limitations into breakthroughs. Consistency is the invisible force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. While the world waits for the perfect conditions, the consistent rise, the persistent effort, and the unwavering commitment move quietly, building empires, creating legacies, and mastering life itself. Napoleon Hill once said, "Patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success." Your daily efforts, no matter how small, are the seeds of monumental change. Show up, do the work, and trust that growth comes not from luck, but from unwavering action over time. Remember, you are capable of far more than you can imagine. Your vision must be bigger than your circumstances, your dreams larger than your doubts, and your faith stronger than your fears. Every challenge, every pain, every disappointment is temporary, but the lessons, the wisdom, and the strength you gain are permanent. As Les Brown says, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Let your vision pull you forward, let your determination guide you, and let your courage define you. The journey of growth is not linear, it is not easy, and it is not guaranteed, but it is yours to embrace. Stand tall in the face of adversity, rise with dignity in the midst of struggle, and shine brighter because of every challenge you have faced. Your life is a masterpiece in progress, and every decision to grow, every choice to rise, every act of letting go brings you closer to the person you are meant to be. So, rise. Show up. Let go of what holds you back. Respond with courage. Be consistent. Trust the process. Your growth is not an option. It is your destiny. The world is waiting for your greatness, and the only thing standing between you and your highest potential is the courage to keep moving forward no matter what. Believe it, embrace it, live it, and let your transformation inspire everyone around you. You are not here to settle. You are here to rise, to shine, and to become unstoppable.